call Jeff when I get to Knoxville. Jeff picks up. He says, "You're still going, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Stop by and pick me up. I'm going to ride with you because I don't want you to be too disappointed when it doesn't happen." I pick Jeff up. We get to Chicago that night. Jeff goes up. Jeff gets us a room. Next morning we get up. I go to the front desk. I'm asking for directions. Jeff is standing in the corner getting ready to go work out. I get directions. I'm going to walk out of the building. Jeff jogs over. He says, "Ink, wait." He said, "I'm going to go with you, man. I'm going to get us a taxi. I don't want you to be too disappointed when it doesn't happen." We pull up to Harpo Studios in a taxi. The place is massive. People everywhere. It's when our last shows were happening. We get out of the car. Jeff says to me, "Hey, Ink, I'm going across the street to this coffee shop. I'm sure this won't be long. I'll see you in a minute." I get the book. I walk around the building. Every door that was open, I would run into the door. I would say, "Hey, man, I'm Inky Johnson. I drove up from Atlanta. I want to open my book." And they would say, "Get out of here. We don't do that." I said, "Man, y'all rude. I thought y'all give away cars. I just got a book." And I got so discouraged. I went around the back of the building and I sat down in the parking lot. I looked up at the sky. I'm like, "God damn, my wife's going to chew me out." And I get up and I go around the side of the building. At this point, everybody has went into the building. And there's one gentleman and he's sitting on the curb and he looks at me and homeless dude. And I sit down beside him and I say to him, "Sir, how are you?" He said, "Man, I'm great. How are you?" I said, "Man, I've seen better days." The irony of the situation. And I look up to my left, and when I look up to my left, coming down the sidewalk was Oprah and her security guard. And I stand up and I fix my suit. I say, "Here goes," right? And I start walking toward her, and they're walking toward me, and I'm thinking in my mind, surely she's going to send security up, move me out of the way, but I shot my shot. And as I'm walking, they're continuing to come, and she stops dead center in front of me, and she grabs my suit, and she shakes it. And she says, "This is a nice suit." I said, "Thank you." And I said, "I'm Inky Johnson. I drove up from Atlanta. I just wanted to bring you my book." She said, "Thank you." I said, "Can I take a picture with you?" She said, "No problem." We take a picture. She says, "All right, I got to get in and do my show." I said, "Thank you very much." I go to walk off, and the security guard says to me, hey, wait a minute." And I stop. He said, "Come here. I want to tell you something." He said, "I just want you to know what just happened never happens." He said, "Usually she'll send me up and say, 'Move them out of the way, tell them to send their book here, and they'll never get it.' I just want you to know what just transpired, it never happens." I said, "Man, thank you so much." Like, I walked off, I sent a picture to friends, family, I put it up on social media, right? And everybody's response was, "Hey, Ink, are you going to be on the show? Hey, Ink, you're going to be on the book club? Hey, Ink, you're going to be on Super Soul?" I was like, "I don't know, I don't care." They was like, "What you mean you don't know, you don't care?" I said, "That moment wasn't about that. That wasn't a moment about getting on Oprah's show." I said, "I got up that morning, I was trying to see, was God still with me? I was trying to see, was God still with the kid that left Atlanta, Georgia, that had this dream to go to the NFL when he was 7 and got there at 20 years old? I just need to see." It wasn't about Oprah. I just need to see, God, do I still got the connection? God, do you still hear me? And so when it happened, for me, what happened was, in the midst of the moment, it was confirmation when I was hugging her that God was saying to me, "Ink, I got you. I got you, Ink." When I got back to Atlanta, people said, "Ink, you need to speak." My simple prayer was this: "Okay, Lord, I'll be obedient." People are telling me I need to speak. I'll be obedient. Send me where you gotta send me. Out of obedience, because in the Bible it says obedience is better than sacrifice, but you give the average person a task, and what's the first thing they'll do? Judge the level of sacrifice without first being obedient. They'll say, "What do I gotta give up? What is it going to cost me?" And the first trip I got to speak was a 15-hour round trip to Mississippi, driving. And I get back home at 2 a.m., and my wife is standing there. And when I walk in the door, she's standing there. She said, "How was it?" I said, "Babe, it was great." And she said to me, "You sure this is what God called you to do?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Go for it." So from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. Right? Because as much as it is an honor and a privilege for you all, It's an honor and a privilege for me. Every time I walk out on the stage, what the moment means for me is just like when I met Oprah. And I was like, God, you're still with me, man. Every time I walk out on the stage, because I didn't choose this. This chose me. God chose it. God orchestrated and architected. And so when I meet a person, they're like, man, Inky, I really appreciate your video. I saw the Tennessee video. I'm like, God, you're still with me, man. I see somebody in the airport, they're like, man, can my kid take a picture with you? Can you sign this? I'm like, God, you're still with me, man. And so my question to us is this. Every single day, in every aspect of our lives, and the things we're privileged to do, and the people we're connected to, when the situation of the moment does not go our way, because we all know what to do when it goes right. But when God says no, who will you be? But most importantly, who's watching you and who can be blessed by the opposition, the adversity, and the challenge that you're facing? I firmly believe this wasn't for me. This moment was for my father and the countless others that have came to Christ as a result of it.
That's been simple. Smile for zero money down with zero worries. Plus pay zero interest and paid in full within 18 months. With your savings and safety secure, you'll...
Got the pass caught and out of bounds at the 33-yard line. And Inky Johnson is down on the field. That's not good.
And I can see the play unfold now. A couple of weeks ago, I was on a plane and I was headed to Dallas for a conference. In the year 2006, something happened that ended up being what I consider the third best thing that's ever happened to me in my life, and that was my career and an injury. 2 minutes left in the game, I was just going to make a tackle, routine tackle that was supposed to end the game, right? And when I hit the cat, 2 hours later, I found myself in the emergency room fighting for my life. I wake up the next morning, life hasn't been the same ever since. Paralyzed right arm and hand, and life just was different. When my injury happened, I went from running a 4.38, bench pressing 325 pounds, to having 350 staples in my body, getting cut twice in my right ribs, cut across my pec. They took out my right pec, bottom of my arm hit to the bottom of my hand, slashed me across the right side of my neck, across the left side of my neck. I had to grab my father's shoulder and learn how to walk again. This ain't lip service, man. And they told me, ain't going to send you back home to Atlanta. I'm from this city. Grew up on the east side of this city. Mother had me at 16 years old. 125 Warren Zone 6 took me back to a 2-bedroom home. There's 14 of us living. I used to sleep in a bed by myself until I got to college. And when it happened, they said, hey, we're sending you back to Atlanta. I said, I'm not going back to Atlanta. They said, yeah, but something traumatic has happened to you. I said, you're absolutely right. They said, yeah, but we need to give you time to process what happened. I said, I get that. I said, but what if you had done your sling and a Velcro strap? Why y'all laughing? They said, why? I said, we're going back to practice with my teammates. They said, but you can't play. Your career's over. I said, this ain't about a game. This is about me fulfilling what I said I was going to do. Like as a man, I was raised, the worst thing a man could ever do is lie to himself. The worst thing a man could do is look in the mirror and say he gave everything he had to it and know he didn't give everything he had to it. Right? The worst thing a man can do is look at his teammates and tell them, bro, I'm locked in, I'm going to give you everything I got. And when you don't get what he thought he was going to get, he checked out. It's the worst thing a man can do. Right? And so what I was telling him was, hey, man, this ain't about a game. It's about life. I was in the sand pit with him that next week. They saved my life Saturday. I was in the sand pit Wednesday. I was running sprints with him the next week. Went back to class, learned how to write all over again, got my degree with my left hand. It didn't matter. It wasn't about a contract, like a physical contract no, it was about my life contract. At that point, my character was on the line. My integrity was on the line. Like my lineage was on the line. One day my son, my daughter, my wife, like my everything I got. I didn't say unless my uncle said that. I told you I'm going to give you everything I got. I didn't say that the situation or the circumstance plays in my favor in a way I didn't say that. I said I'm going to show up and I'm going to give you everything I got. So you got to take my life before you take my drive, man. I'm talking mentality. My arm and my hand got paralyzed. My heart did. I'm not talking about a game. Like basketball is a sport, it's cool. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about the mentality and the spirit of how I do anything is how I do everything. I'm talking about the spirit of I didn't play with my teammates. I played for my teammates. Right? Character is not something we inherit. Nobody can come to you in the hospital when you're born and say, here, I'm going to give you character. They can't. Character is something we got to wake up every single day. We got to build it. In the midst of adversity and in the midst of opposition. Right? But the beauty of it is if a cat got a certain perspective about it. Because at the end of the day, perspective drives performance every single day of the week. Our individual view they do will always affect how they do what they do. I just want one thing from you. In everything you touch. Not just the sport, not just the ball, in everything you touch. Right? Can you raise the level and be elite? In everything you do. Like I know y'all can move. That ain't up for question. I'm talking about the spirit. When you face opposition, when you face challenges, can you still show up and be just as driven and just as dedicated as you were when you first started and you fell in love with it? Right? People don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. We never allow the politics to take your passion, man. Every single time we play, every single time we compete, it's a lot more on the line than just a win or a loss. That bloodline on the line. That lineage on the line. More importantly, what you represent is on the line. If we got to do it anyway, why not be great at it?
Counts it up and count. Two rises up and hammers it through with the right hand. Nothing to catch and shoot long three, and that is it. From beyond the arc, Gorky to get the Wolves up off their bench. Homer on the run through the paint, forced one up. No, he gets his own offensive rebound and banks it in for two. Off to Gorky, baseline right, the three ball good in the corner for Gorky Chang. Out to Gorky, can he hit another three? Bingo!
When the skies open up, we don't back down. So, fellas, first off, man, I want to let you all know it's an honor and a privilege to be before you all. I got great respect and admiration for what you all are a part of in your journey. I want to thank Duke, man. Thank you so much for thinking enough of me and providing me with this opportunity and the whole organization. I want to thank Rob, man. Rob was like a brother to me. He was in my wedding. He was my roommate in college. I remember when his car used to get declined, all that. Couldn't pay his rent, all that, right? That's my guy. But the reason I showed that clip, there was one line in there that hit me and it stuck. And the one line was, like the dude that came to see him on the horse. Like, I don't know if y'all remember the movie, but he was riding with him. Like, he was riding with him at every single battle. Like, there was a point in every single battle when it got tough. And Leonidas with his 300, when it got a little tough, he would call on the Arcadians, and they'd come from between the rocks. They'll come out with their crew, and they'll wipe out whoever they was going against, and they'll handle it, right? And so at a certain point, my man saw up on the hill, he saw a little humpback dude, and he saw some more soldiers, more than they had ever saw. And so he came to him, and he was riding with him at every single battle, but he came to him and he saw more than he had ever saw. And he said to him, it's over. And he said, we must surrender. And I don't know if you saw the movie, but every time somebody said something to him, like they wanted to make him king. They told him they'll give him everything he was fighting for. They came to him. At one point, they came to the United States. They said, we'll give you everything you want. Like you fighting for your land, you can have your land. You want water, like you can have your water. Everything you fight for, we'll give it to you, and we'll make you king. You'll reign supreme over everything, and everybody got to report to you. They told him that, but they said one word, and when they said the one word, every time they said the one word, he'll walk off and he'll shake his head. And the one word that they said was submit. Every time they mentioned submission, it was like he just went into another mold, and he wasn't trying to hear him. So when my man came to him on the horse, he said, we got to submit. When he said we got to submit, you saw his
something else. He went to him, the thing that stuck to me, Duke, he told him, every man must search his own soul. And he said, while you at it, like you've been battling with me, you've been going with me, but when the adversity and the opposition and the challenge got tougher, you said, you gotta go. Like we dead, so while you at it, you search your own soul and you run off, you tell everybody, we gonna stand, we gonna live, we gonna die by what we stand for, and everybody gonna know what we represent and what we're part of. Because we said, at a certain point, we said we was gonna live and we gonna die by it. And the thing I love about sports and the thing I love about life, whatever you want, you gotta be willing to accept whatever comes with it. Like it's like a cat in the street. If you wanna be a gangster, you can't be a gangster until you meet a gangster. Like you can't be a warrior until you meet a warrior. You say, no, I don't want to be a warrior no more. Like you got to be willing to accept whatever comes with it. And he's talking about running 15 meetings. And I was talking to Rob in the car. And I said, man, the dangerous thing about having talent, like when you're in the league, everybody can run fast, jump high, hit catch. Everybody can cut it and slice it however you want to cut it and slice it. Everybody can play ball, right? But the thing about it, I told Rob, you got to be careful when you got talent. Because sooner or later, if you're not careful, you can become a victim of your own talent. And when you become a victim of your own talent, you don't value the small things anymore. And at a certain point in the early years, the small things were the foundation. And it's the thing that got you to the point that you are at now. But now we don't value it because we feel as if we've gotten to a certain point. Like adversity is adversity, opposition is opposition, challenges are challenges. But it's not so much about the opposition and the adversity that we face as it is about the perspective that we have about the opposition and the adversity that we face. Meaning perspective drives performance every day of the week. How you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. Like I love 300 just because when they said retreat, my man, like we ain't going nowhere. You came to me, you disrespected my wife, you disrespected, like he could have quit, he could have stopped fighting for it. But the purpose for what he was fighting for was greater than any individual, and so he went to war, the purpose. Meaning the thing of what he was fighting for was greater than any individual, was greater than any 300. And when he died, I'll never forget, one of the soldiers laid down. He said, man, it was an honor to die by you. It was an honor to die by you. And he told me it was an honor to live by you. Like, you know the reason he said I was one of the most important people in his life? It wasn't that I could run fast. I played corner. I wasn't the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. But he knew every time we stepped out in between them lines, I was willing to die for it, Luke. I almost lost my life for it. Like it ain't just words. Like I made a tackle against Air Force in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left in the game. They carried me off on the stretcher. We got to the emergency room. They ran some tests, and the doctor came into the room, and he said, everybody rush out. We got to rush this kid back to emergency surgery. He's about to die. And I'm looking at him like, die? Like, man, you can't use another word. Like, you just sitting there like, die? And he's like, yeah, you ruptured an artery in your chest. You're bleeding internally. Gotta rush you back, take the main vein out of your left leg, plug it into your chest in order to save your life. Next morning I woke up. I love the game of football. I've been playing since I was 7. But the next morning I woke up, my arm was paralyzed. Been paralyzed for the past 12 years. Got cut 6 times down my left eye. 1 time across the left side of my neck, 1 time across the right side, twice through my right ribs. Cut out my right pec, bottom of my armpit, to the bottom of my hand. Put 350 staples in my body, and they bandaged me from my neck to my knee. Same lip service. They told me to go home. Something terrible happened to you. Go home. Go back to Atlanta. Take a break. Take some time off. You got injured. Take time off for what? Go home for what? I'm going to go to practice on Wednesday, even though I can't compete. I'm going to go to practice until I can't compete. Even though my career is over, I'm going to get a gun-joy sling and I'm going to be in the sand pit with my teammates at my line loop stopping. I'm going to run every hill with my teammates. I'm going to run around the block with my teammates. Even though I can't play, but I made a vow to something that was a lot greater than me. And so what I made a vow to was more important than any stat. Like, for me, what trumps everything is character and integrity. What trumps everything is when a cat is rocking with me, he knows at a certain point, I'm not retreating. If I'm with him and I say I'm going home, we going home. And whatever got to happen on the way to get home, if we got to wipe some cats out on the way to get home, like you got 2 types of cats in the world. You got a cat that's talented until they get hot in the kitchen, then you got a cat that's just all out with it. You got certain cats, they with it until they get hot. They don't want them little cats in the fourth quarter. They tapping their helmet like, coach, I need to come out and sub me. Then you got cats that say, this is why I play the game.
Yeah.
This is what I signed up for. Like,
Yeah.
Like all that other other stuff is cool, but when they get hot in this 4th and goal, like if nobody wants it, I want it. Like you got cats that's cut like that. Like it's a crazy thing. I was reading a story about Navy SEALs, and they was talking about the training that they go through, and they was talking about Hell Week. And they say Hell Week is literally designed just to break them, send them through hell. Like you want to be a warrior, you want to be a SEAL, toughest of the tough, baddest of the bad. We're gonna see how bad you want to be a SEAL. And the way they gauged it was they let them push themselves and see if they was willing to die for it. And so when cats would pass out and almost die, they would wake them up, and the cats would wake up and they would be like, I'm ready. They would slap them and say, no, you good. You put your life on the line, you good. And when they got into Hell Week, the crazy thing was, like they had units in this particular book, and the units that they had, James, right, they started to trace it back in the units because some cats that made it through Hell Week the year prior, they didn't make it the next year. Right? It's just like the league. Some cats, they gonna make it this year. Next year, they gonna be nowhere to be found because they don't have that same bite. Not that they don't have enough talent, they don't have that same bite. Whether they got bread, whatever the case may be, whether they got a whip, a house, whatever the case, they don't have that same bite, right? And so they started tracing it. The craziest thing was they found out the cats that surrender, everybody they trained with surrendered. They noticed the cats that quit and said, I thought this was what I wanted to do. They traced it back to their group. Everybody they trained with quit and said, this is what I thought I wanted. If I got to go through that, I don't want it so bad anymore. Then they got to the cats that made it, and it wasn't like they put them in a separate environment. They put them through the same training. It's like off-season. Everybody go through the same off-season. It's like the cats go to the weight room. Everybody go to the same weight room, but everybody don't come out the same way. It's like when the cats on the team, everybody on the same schedule, but everybody don't go about their schedule and their business the same way. It wasn't like they put one set of cats in this water, another set of cats in that water, we put them all through these rope drills. No, everybody went through the same drills. And the cats that made it and beat it, they said, man, listen, we already know what time it is. We know they finna try to break us. We already know they think we done it. We already know that. We know they coming at us. We know they gonna throw everything they got at us. So here's how we gonna beat it. Cat just said, I'm gonna look at you. Cat said, we get in the water, we get in the midst of adversity, it starts getting a little tough, the pain starts to set in. I'm just gonna look at you and you look at me, and I don't have to say a word because what we're working for is greater than me and you, so we gotta press forward and we gotta conquer it. We didn't have to say a word, we just looked at each other, and when I look at you, the power of the other person, the accountability and the responsibility of what we're working for, and I respect you so much, and I know you're handling your business, I'm not gonna quit on you. See, the problem is, there's a lot of cats that be talking, but when it comes to their actions betray their words, and so now you got a contradiction, and a cat ain't respecting that. When you start talking about men ain't respecting that.
No.
Like they can hear you talking about it, but if you ain't living it, a cat ain't trying to hear it.
No.
And a cat's actions betray their words every day of the week. Like I asked the cat 2 weeks ago, I said, man, do you think it's possible that you can be a great football player, but you can suck as a father? Cat told me, yeah. I said, it's impossible. He said, how so? I said, you take the same mindset. I said, the same mindset you approach ball with, that's going to be the same mindset when one day you get trusted with something that's a lot greater than you, like as a father, like when you got a family, you call to be three things. You call to be a priest, a provider, and a protector. That's it. And so if you can't be trusted in a huddle, what makes you think when you get a shorty, you're going to be like, I got you. When you don't feel like it. Like everybody is good until they don't feel like it. And when they don't feel like it, the actions and everything they said goes out of the window. Like I find it amazing. I find it amazing how a cat can say they want something, right? Now a cat can say, man, I'm all in with you, let's ride. They can say they want something. And then conditions and circumstance change. And the words that they once spoke means nothing to them. Like the commitment level of it. Like I was taught, commitment is staying true to what you said you was true to long after the mood that you said it in has left. Meaning on the days when we don't feel like doing what we once said we was going to do, we're going to step up and we're going to do it anyway because those are the days that build character. Like those type of days, right? Like I just want one thing from you, man. Like I know you got it. I know you can ball. I know you can run jump. I know you can do it. I know you can fill a gap, blow a cat up. I know that. But everybody don't got that mentality. Like everybody don't got that mentality when a cat drop 5 in a row and they come to work and they still got that bite and they go about their business the same way as if they would have won 5 in a row. Everybody don't got that bite. Because everybody ain't trained like cat got like light switch mentalities. They turn it on, turn it off, depending upon who they going against. Like it's like in college when you got a little paper captain right? And he getting on all the walk-ons. But with his boys, he ain't saying nothing. He don't want to challenge him, he don't want to say nothing. But I thought at the foundation of football, the brotherhood of it, I thought it was love. And so if I love you enough to check you and say something to you, not only because I want you to be a great football player, I want you to be a great man because I understand this. Well, who we are as people will always be more important than who we are as football players. And what I mean by that is who we are as fathers and husbands and men in general will always be more important than who we are as athletes. Like at a certain point, man, talent can only take you so far. At a certain point, character got to take you in. I'll never forget, he left chemo and he went to the track one day. After chemo, he went to the track, and I'm talking about running 400s and crying. Going around the track, crying after chemo, and he cried, and he said, I'm crying not because I'm in so much pain. I'm crying because I'm not who I used to be, but I know I'll come back one day stronger than I used. That ain't talent. Well, the cat got his head shaved, eyebrows fell off, mustache fell off. That ain't talent. That's essence. That's who I am. Warrior. Like, that's just who he is. Get hit with cancer, whatever the case may be, on Sunday. Like, that's essence. Like, some cats just show up for a game. Well, this is the cat's essence. That's who they are. They catch you in the jungle. They catch you on the beach. They catch you in a facility. They gonna do you whenever they see you. That's just who cats are. And you got some cats, they ain't got that mentality like that. Like, yesterday, what you did, like, the thing I love about football, man, and we all know, like, I play ball, y'all play ball. The thing I love about it is, like, X's and O's and strategies, that's cute. They can do it. We can run a stunt. We can run a blitz. We call a great play. But when it all boils down to what it is, mano y mano. And if you ain't got more heart than me, if you ain't been working harder than me, if you ain't sacrificed more than me, I'm going to destroy you.
Yes.
And I'm not retreating. I'm not running. I don't care what they say on paper. I don't care how many games you won. I don't care if you say we outnumbered. We live by this and we die by this. We don't retreat.
No.
We don't run. Every man must search his own soul. That's why that Martin Luther King quote. That's why I said, like, you don't judge a person by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge them by where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. And if you ain't work, like when you work for something, it gives you a different type of attachment to it. The harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. That's why cats can get so easy. They ain't got nothing invested.
No.
They ain't worked for it. They ain't sacrificed for it. Every time it gets tough, they go weed. They ain't working for it. Right? They ain't got nothing sacrificed into it. But when a cat work for something,
Yeah.
like when a cat been sacrificed for something, well, you're going to have a cold day in hell before you take it from them. Because they value it different. They look at, even if they drop one or two, it's a part of the process. It's evolution. Embrace the process, trust the process, but most importantly, you got to respect the process. Talent will never supersede it. I just want one thing from you, man. In life, no matter if a cat play ball, no matter if a cat is an attorney, an artist, whatever the case may be, cats don't burn out because of what they do. Like cats don't just start saying, man, you know what, I thought I wanted to play ball, whatever. Cats burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. Opposition, adversity, challenge. Never forget why you do what you do. I'm not talking about college. I'm not talking about when you first got to the league and you got drafted. I'm talking about when you was coming up in Cali, New Jersey, Indianapolis, Miami, and you was in the street, or you was at the park, and your mom had to go sacrifice and work so you get your pair of cleats. I'm talking about that bite. Because everybody don't remember that. People don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. Character supersedes talent every day of the week. No retreat. No surrender. We live and we die by this. Every man must search his own soul. At a certain point, don't let your actions betray your words, man. That's my time, God.
people that lives were spared because of situations that happened and they were out of their control. And a lot of people didn't speak about it because a lot of people didn't know about it. So in term pastor, they talked about this one gentleman that worked in one of the buildings. And that morning, I'll never forget, they said he was getting ready to leave home, and his wife came to him and said, "Hey, can you take our daughter to kindergarten today?" And he responded, "I really can't do it. I really need to get to work." And the wife says, "Can you please do it? I really need you to do this. I really need to get to work." That's what he said. "I really need to get to work." The wife responds again, "Please, can you take her to kindergarten?" He accepted. And the timing of him taking his daughter to kindergarten, when the building got hit, because of that incident, things transpired with him and his daughter and his wife, and he couldn't make it in time, the time in which he thought he was going to make it, and because of that interaction, it spared his life. He couldn't control it. One gentleman, he got on the New Jersey Turnpike, headed to the same building. On the New Jersey Turnpike, there was an accident. Something happened. It stopped, right? And because it stopped, and I'm sure he was on his way to work, and when it stopped, I'm sure he was fussing, and he was mad as all get out. But he couldn't control the situation, and because he couldn't control the situation, his life was spared. One gentleman, they sent him to get some donuts or something. He went to get some donuts. He's coming out of the building. Somebody spills funky on his shirt. He has to go home to change his shirt. And because of the situation that happened, him going home to change his shirt, it spared his life. I'm sure it's something in it that I can extract and apply to some area of my life. James chapter 1, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of any kind, because the testing of your faith goes on through perseverance and I'm sure it's something in it that
something happened with me and my family that I didn't expect. And so me and my wife was out. We were doing a little Christmas shopping. Well, she was Christmas shopping. I was hoping she didn't spend too much money, right? And some walk in, and we're about 10 or 12 yards away from each other in school. And some kind of walking with my head down, and I walk up on these mini four-wheelers. And so I get kind of excited. And I look up at my wife thinking she's going to pose the same excitement. She's like, no. I'm like, come on, let me get one for our son. She's like, no, they're dangerous. I said, well, let me get two for our son and our daughter, right? I get rejected, I double down, right? She's like, no, you already got her on. I'm like, man, I got to walk around the store, get something, she'll give it. Walked around the store, got her purse, she gave it, and got two. So Christmas Day, we get up, got the presents set. I went outside early, I cooked up a little four-wheeler, got it ready. And so me and my son get up, and we're walking to the presents, and somehow he looks out the window, and he sees it. So he's like, Dad, man, bump that, let's go out to the little four-wheeler thing. I'm like, let's go, Dick, let's do it, baby. We run out, and we got the knee pads, elbow pads, helmet, Vaseline. I know it's about to be a little trial run. And so I grab my son, let's go, fourth quarter, I put him on the seat, fourth quarter on the back rack. And so the way I teach my children, I teach them in counts right here. And so I told my son the first two code words are light and heavy. I said, when I say light, you ride, you barely mash it. It's a little presidential way, you let them take their pictures. We're just cooling out. I said, now when I say heavy, you pedal to the metal, you full throttle, we mash it, right? We're all out. We're screaming, fist pumping, we're going. And so we start riding, light, he's getting it, heavy, he's getting it. And so the next two code words were skinny and ride, teaching him how to turn. I said, no, son, when you're running forward by yourself, you can turn skinny, you're all good, you're in the clear, everything is great. I said, but when I'm on the back, I want you to turn wide, because if you turn skinny, there's a strong possibility you're going to throw Dad off of here, and my wife, your mom, not going to let you live down in 2030. And so he's riding, and he's going skinny, he's getting it, right? I get on, he's going wide, he's getting it. And so we come over the stretch, we're on like 15 acres, right? And we come over the stretch, and we hit a little hump, and they got music playing, people talking, and I say to my son, I say, hey, go wide. And somehow he heard skinny. And sure enough, he whips it. And when he whips it, I come off the back rack. And in mid-air, I look back under my armpit because I'm looking for my wife. And she's already full Olympic stride coming, jaw shaking. And so I hit the ground and I roll. And when I roll, I look up, my son ain't hit the ground. Four-wheeler had flipped over. Wife still coming. My son's in shock. Got a little blood coming from his forehead, helmet tilted up, right? And I'm like, hey, think quick. I'm like, you gotta beat your wife to your son, because if she beats you to him, she gonna make him think he got shot 15 times. And so I jump up and I run to the four-wheeler. I grab it, I stand it up, I grab my son. I dust him off, I fix his helmet, right? Wipe his little blood, I sit him on the seat. I sit on the back rack. Wife's still coming. I said, hey, go! I said, go heavy, right? And he mashes it. Right? He mashes it. He burns out, right? And we're riding, he screams out, Dad, this is the best thing ever. I said, I know, buddy. I said, no, turn wide. Let's go back up with Mommy and Grandma. We're going to park. All right, he turns wide. We get back up where they are, and they're high as fish grease. And everybody's saying the same thing. Why did you do that? Why didn't you stop? He was bleeding. Like you got scars on your elbow. Why did you do that? And I said to him, the reason I did it was because if we didn't attack the opposition in the adversity in that moment, it would have paralyzed him for the rest of his life, not physically. From a perspective standpoint, a person's perspective can become their passport or their prison. I told my wife, it wasn't about my wife, it wasn't about the four-wheeler. The lesson was to my son, when life got your butt down, I need you to get up and I need you to go heavy on it. The lesson was when uncertainty creeps in, I need you to get up and I need you to go heavy on it. The lesson was when you taste a little bit of blood and something happens that you didn't expect to happen, I need you to go heavy on it. The only thing I want from you is to every single day, with the things we do, the things we're connected to, and the things we aspire to do, I just want you to go heavy on it. But most importantly, I want you to never forget, in life, people don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out
my time. God bless you. I love you.